Hello, friends, and welcome to Activate and Thrive and to our Thriving Thursday weekly interview where we speak with different beautiful, health-minded souls. And today, Elise is going to talk with us about back pain and how to relieve our aches and to do this naturally. And we're just so very happy to welcome you today, Lisa. Thank you so much for joining us.
Please share a little bit about your journey and what has led you to be doing what you're doing today.
Wow, me and Don, thank you for the gracious introduction. I absolutely love both of you, and thank you for doing this wellness page. It is just such a gift to share with people how to take control of our lives, how to take control of our biology. Like Don and Mia said, I am Lisa Wyland, and what really got me into my profession as a physical therapist. I remember in high school, I was kind of thinking like, what do I want to do with my life? And I'm a helper, I'm a natural helper, and I knew I wanted to go into the medical field. I just didn't know what I wanted to do. And I think it was my junior or senior year, my mom said, what about physical therapy? And I hadn't even heard of physical therapy before. So I contacted, those times you couldn't email, I had to do long writing to the University of Minnesota and send me some information about physical therapy. And when I got all the brochures back, I thought, this is it. This is how I want to help people. And so after my senior year, I went and got my nursing aid certificate because this would give me an opportunity to get into clinics, hospitals, nursing homes, because what I learned was that I needed so many hours of work experience. And I got into the nursing home after the summer of my senior year, and I became a physical therapy aide. I was able to do that with my nursing aid certificate. And one of the first things that I saw was the physical therapist working with a gentleman who had just a recent stroke that had gone from the hospital to the nursing home. And you guys, he couldn't even sit his balance just because of all the brain and neurological trauma. And by the end of the summer, he was going home walking with a cane. And I thought that was powerful. That was huge. It's like, I wanted to make that kind of impact on people's lives and health.
Oh,
Now, yeah, I was going to say, I didn't go into the neurological realm, but I did go into the orthopedic realm.
Yeah, well, we know that is connected to everything, right?
Right, exactly.
So in your experience, what are some of the common causes of back pain?
Yeah, that's so common, injuries that I see are, I deal a lot with work injuries, people who are in motor vehicle accidents. I have a lot of young athletes who are swimmers, gymnastics, diving, dancers, track, really a whole spectrum, Nordic skiers. I also have patients who have had bending or lifting. They're just simply like, Lisa, I was just literally just bending over to tie my shoe and I got up and my back caught, I had pain down my leg. So it could be simple as just bending over. A lot of overuse injuries. And guess what else? A lot of sitting. I work at a desk, I'm at my computer, 8+ hours a day. So there's a lot of different, reasons why we have back pain. And when we start looking at some of the causes, it can be joint dysfunctions, it could be muscle imbalances, what muscles are weak, what muscles are strong and tight, what do we don't have control over with some of our core muscles. It could be myofascial tension, dural tightness and tension, fascial around the organs. Those are some of those root causes of why we have some back pain.
Sometimes those don't even show up until, maybe the cause of it happened years prior and it doesn't really start to manifest into actual pain until later.
And, oh, go ahead, Don.
Oh, sorry. Yes. One of the things at the end of what you just said about what can cause it, I think a lot of us identify with the sitting part, particularly over the last year when there's been so much Zooming. And so have you had more people complaining about that coming from that cause necessarily this last year, or?
Yeah, I would say I still get that whole variety of things, but definitely with that, sitting, we're just overall as a society have become a little bit more sedentary. So that has really, put more strain and stress on our spine. And I just want to go back to just address to what Mia said, things that happened long ago. One of my, I think some of the toughest back patients that I had, and I noticed this early on in my career, were women who had C-sections and hysterectomies. And I'm like, okay, why are they having so much back pain? And when I started looking at those internal organs, that scar tissue that has, bound down over years, that are now manifesting itself maybe more in midlife, it's been really interesting. Or people who had an appendectomy when they were 12, and now they have that scar tissue on the anterior front side of our abdomen, but causing some of the back pain.
Wow.
Wow.
Mhm.
Well, so as a physical therapist, you've worked with musculoskeletal.
Musculoskeletal.
There we
You
go.
got it.
See,
You
that
got it
sometimes
down.
really fast.
Yes.
Issues. So for those in our audience who might be dealing with those types of problems, how might you counsel them?
Oh, so, and Don, this is kind of this perfect, question leading into what you said before. As you're sitting more behind Zoom, get up, stretch, and move. So I really, even with my patients who are a little bit more, if they're secretaries or they're doing computer stuff, I literally have them set a timer every 45 to 50 minutes if they can. Get out, away from the desk, move, stretch, because what I want you to remember, motion is your lotion. Okay, it's gonna get that. Don't you love that? I just love that too. You got to move, you guys. We got to get away, change the position. If you can, like on your lunch break, get outside and walk. If you can get some, between, like that little brief time to stretch, to move, get away from your desk, get off your seat and start moving.
Lisa, it's so funny you say that, because as well as working with our health and wellness business here, I also teach violin, and Tuesdays, that's a couple of days ago, are my 6 hours in front of a Zoom screen teaching. This past Tuesday, like 4 hours into it, I was like, and I did not get up once. So thank you. I will not be doing that ever again. I will take a little break.
Before you get on with your next student, you've got to move. And think about violin. You are look at this position. You're coming up, you have your whole setup. Your neck is always to the left, and what does that do to the spine and to the muscle imbalances? Don, I've had some, and I just want to say my daughter is one of them. I mean, that whole left side tightness. And so that has its whole other issues, but definitely for you to get up and move, change your neck positions, do some neck stretchings would help you so much.
Right.
Yeah, that's a very helpful
tip. That will be
tip.
happening from now on. Thank you.
Good. And we can talk later. Maybe I can give you a little specific.
I deal with the same thing because I also teach voice lessons online, and just, it's interesting. It's harder because you're not physically in, next to your student, which it's such an in-person kind of, instruction. But when they're on the Zoom screen and they have to use their body to support, and with singing, it's from the pelvic floor all the way throughout that whole spinal tract, right? The core, everything. And so it's so connected. And so you just have to be very attuned to that. And I sometimes forget that I've been sitting at that piano bench for a while. So this is also a good reminder to me.
Oh, Mia, exactly. That is going to be, and then for you, Mia, you're maybe a little bit more able to move. Think about where your monitor is. Is there sometimes, for maybe another student, can you have it on the other side so you're not constantly in the same position? Just modify, and that whole setup that gets into ergonomics. How is your computer screen? Is it helping you with your body position?
Oh, that's so good. What are some other additional helpful tips you can give us? because we are all spending so much time on this Zoom platform.
Yeah, so for sure we want to get into that specific stretching. I really believe in a total body wellness. I'm looking at everything. So specific stretches, what people don't really realize, oftentimes it's the front of the body that gets tight. And me, I don't know if you saw, I just wanted to add value over this whole pandemic. And one of my key stretches is a hip flexor stretch. Hip flexor stretch is going to attach to every single lumbar vertebra from the front, goes into that pelvic bowl, and then out to the hip. And how is it going to get tight? It's going to get tight with sitting. So a really good hip flexor stretch is so crucial. Really moving into some good core exercises. I use exercises as an adjunct to manual therapy. So I truly believe that a lot of my exercises are yoga based. So I love, it's kind of like an introduction to yoga. So if you can get some type of yoga flow, would be really beneficial. And when you look at back pain, when you think about, or if I feel stiff or, aches and pains, what is the route? What should I do? For if any reason you feel like there's some type of, more medical underlying issue, you can definitely see your medical physician. They can screen you out. They can do x-rays, or if you feel like you need something more like an MRI, chiropractors also do x-rays. And then in my practice specifically, I can really screen you out. I have certain, tests that will say, like, do you need to be in my office? My specialty is that musculoskeletal. And I can see if there's red flags, like, oh, do I need to get you back to the doctor? An example of this would be, I had one patient that came in for back pain. And so, I'm doing different tests and I'm really checking to see if it's musculoskeletal, and they were not fitting the criteria. And I'm like, this isn't good. I need you to get back and do further testing with your physician. And sure enough, it came back as cancer, because there's certain things that can mimic back pain.
Right.
Yeah. So that's, I think, important too. But if you feel like, there's just one more thing I want to talk about in that. The other thing is like a non-contained disc. Okay.
Yeah.
So I can really, with my testing, I know, like, I see patients with bulging herniated discs all the time, but it's when it gets to be what's called a non-contained disc. And that would be when you have more leg pain than back pain. If you have what's called kind of genitalia numbness or loss of bladder control, you have foot drop. Those are things that are more of a medical necessity. I need you to get you out of my office and back to your physician. But with other things, even if it's like a herniated disc, I can still see you if it's not a non-contained disc. And then there's lovely other options for body work, right? We know that there's physical therapy, there's chiropractor, there's massage, there's Reiki, and there's just such a beautiful community of really helping you with back pain.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a good segue to another question. You had shared with us that you work with 6 pillars of health. So as we think about just overall wholeness, can you share with us your 6 pillars of health?
Yeah, and Don and Mia, this has been a journey for me. And as I've observed, you guys have been working in the healthcare industry for 30 years. As I see, even with I get a lot of chronic pain patients into my office. And so when I think about the 6 pillars of health in my own journey, I thought I was doing everything right. I exercised, I was eating right, and I personally found myself in my doctor's office wondering, how did I get here with chronic inflammation and chronic fatigue? And I knew there had to be something different because I was really feeling hopeless and desperate because I had 4 small children that I had been really waiting. My husband and I had gone through 6 years of infertility treatment to have children, and now I have them. And I had to have my 70-year-old mother to help me come over because I was so tired. I called it like beyond tired, that fatigue between my behind my eye. And this started me on that journey. And I really embraced these 6 pillars of health because I knew there had to be something more than where I was. And so when I talk about the 6 pillars of health and I talk to my patients about hydration, most Americans are not getting enough water, and it really helps with the healing process. Kind of a general rule is half your body weight in ounces. And I really love starting my day with a glass of, squeezing lemon into my about 8 to 16 ounces. Do you do that too? Yes.
Every day.
Yes, exactly. It's so good for the organs and healing. The other thing that I really talk about, and again, is for me in my practice, I talk about it general, but for my friends and my family, is that diet. Look at inflammatory foods, learn about those troublemakers, what can cause and add inflammation in your body.
Yeah.
And then you want that rainbow of health, of foods. You want the blueberries, and you want the reds and the green leafy vegetables. And then, of course, we're going to talk about exercise, especially because that's my passion. And, making sure that you have some type of stretching program, some type of core program. And what we're learning more and more is exercise in moderation, that 20 to 30 minutes, if you're getting that cardio. If you're going more into that distant, into that, more than 2 hours, you're creating something called oxidative stress. And that's just causing that chronic inflammation in the body. And so then you can also do something what is called HIIT. That's what I'm learning more and more about that and the benefits. It's high intensity interval training because it's going to be really that 20 to 30 minutes of exercises. Then number 4 would be meditation and gratitude, having a gratitude journal. And then sleep. We really need good sleep. And you can imagine what are some of my biggest complaints of my patients when they're in pain. They can't sleep. That's one of our first goals, right? One of our major goals that I put is, can you sleep 6 to 8 hours without waking due to pain?
May I ask you a question about that?
Yes.
Is it, I can't sleep, therefore I have back pain, or I have back pain, therefore I can't sleep, or both?
Probably both. But in my practice, one of the people, most of what they say is that I'm waking due to pain, and therefore I can't sleep. And then what does that do to your next day? You get into that vicious downward cycle. You're not feeling well in the morning, so then you're gonna have more pain. So sleep is really crucial to healing.
Yeah, that's when we're in recovery mode for sure.
Exactly, right? Definitely. Yeah. And then my last pillar of health that really changed my life was that essential supplementation. And what do I mean about essential supplementation? Well, there's certain minerals and vitamins that our body doesn't make and we can't store. Some of the key ones, I'm sorry about that.
That's okay, no worries.
And then one of the key, some of the key vitamins and minerals that we can't store or make in our body that many people have heard about are vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, really crucial to healing, to boost your immune system. Other things that could help would be elderberry. We're hearing a lot about that as far as our health. And really new on the health industry is that fermented yeast. It's a postbiotic. And then lastly, what I feel like really changed my life, and I know me and Don, you're activated, I'm activated.
Can you talk about activated for a moment, that concept?
Sure, I sure can. So activated is different than supplementation, right? We take supplementation like something that our body doesn't make. Like I said, the vitamin C, the vitamin D. Activation, and you guys, this is amazing. I've been in healthcare for over 30 years, and I did not know that our body makes its own natural antioxidants. What are antioxidants? Again, we probably have heard about that. It's blueberries, it's vitamin C. But when we eat them or when we ingest them or we supplement, it's something what we call a 1-to-1 ratio. It's going to erase those free radicals. Free radicals are those toxins, things that bombard our cell that can cause that chronic inflammation. When we activate, we're turning on what we call these longevity and survival genes. And we are going to increase our own body's natural ability to create its own natural antioxidants, things that we call glutathione, superoxide dismutase, and catalase. And so we're going to turn on our ability 1,000,000 to 1 to decrease that free radical damage. That's the difference of supplementation to activation.
When you say 1-to-1, so 1-to-1, it's a direct hit in eliminating a free radical. One free radical is eliminated by one antioxidant. But when you're turning on your body's ability to make it, it's a 1,000,000 to 1 hit.
Right.
That's a lot more potent.
That's something to get excited about, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
And you feel the difference, you know.
Oh, big time. For me personally, it was a game changer in my health. And you know, when I look at some of my chronic patients with the inflammation, because there's some of those, you know, there's a direct tissue damage, right? There's a specific injury. But what if they come in, and many of my patients, not only do they have maybe a specific injury, but they have multiple underlying health issues. And so those pillars of health are essential. You're decreasing inflammation on the inside, and then the body's able to heal. Profound.
Yes, indeed.
Nothing better than turning on the body's ability to heal itself.
That's right.
Exactly.
This has been very informative as we come to our point of wrapping up, and we never like to wrap up, but we like to respect people's time on these interviews. Is there any final thing that you would like to share about your approach, or if not, we can say thank you so much. Is there anything?
Yeah, no, Don, I think that really wraps it up as far as embracing. Oh, I guess this would be one thing that I would say. As I was sitting in my doctor's office, and like I said, I was very aware what I put in my body, on my body, you know, how I cleaned my house and everything. Don't settle. You are worth it. Continue to seek, you know, answers, and surround yourself with people that can help you. There's a wealth of information from books, from studies, and I love this, that simply growing old does not mean that we have to have declining health. There are answers out there why we feel the way we do. So keep searching, keep asking questions, reach out to Don and Mia. They have some great resources. So thank you so much for this time.
It's been such a pleasure. And I think that's a beautiful message to send people at the end, that you don't have to accept declining health as an inevitable part of growing older.
Yes.
And, you know, friends, Lisa talked about activation. All of us, Lisa, myself, I'm Don Krishnaswamy, and my wife,
Mia Krishnaswamy.
We all work with this idea of activation. We have beautiful ways to help you learn how to activate your body to be the very best it can be, and very potentially to help with issues like back pain. So we're very happy to engage with you. We also, Lisa talked about vitamin D3, zinc, yeast extract, elderberry. You know, we work with technology that brings all of these together in a beautiful way to help us, help us boost our immunity and everything. And we'd be very happy to help show you more about that if you'd like to just pop us a message right here in Activate and Thrive. And thank you so much for joining us, Lisa Wyland. It's been our privilege to have you.
It has, and we will put we will put those 6 pillars in the comments for our guests and for
That's
whoever's
right.
catching the replay.
That's right.
Perfect.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you so much
Lisa.
for
And
joining
join
us.
us
so much.
next week for our Thriving Thursday chat,
That's right. Every
12
week.
noon Eastern.
Have
Thank
a
you.
beautiful day. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. You
Bye-bye.
too. Bye-bye.